midnight screams.
I don't know how much longer my phone's gonna hold a signal. The rain's coming down like sheets of nails now. I contacted emergency 20 minutes ago, and they said they were sending a rescue chopper. But the lightning's getting closer, the tide's rising, and something's moving in the mangroves again. If I stop writing, it's because I heard it. If this post ends mid-sentence, you'll know why. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. I came to Australia for sun, beaches, and adventure. The cliché. I'd been in the far north for 2 days, still fighting jet lag and loving every second. My hostel roommate told me about this croc jet safari, said it was the wildest thrill ride up north, like NASCAR on water, he joked. I signed up that morning. We met at the boat ramp under gray skies. The guide, a leathery-skinned guy in his 50s named Wayne, handed us life jackets and yelled over the whine of the engines, "Keep your limbs in." Salties love tourists who forget that. Pard! Everyone laughed. I didn't. We sped out across the estuary, 4 of us on separate jet skis, Wayne leading. The water was brown and thick, full of debris from last night's storm. The mangroves loomed ahead, green and ghostly. The air felt heavy, charged. I swear, even before it happened, the birds had gone silent. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. It started with a bump, small at first, like hitting driftwood, then a harder slam from underneath that nearly launched me off the seat. Wayne cut his engine and turned, shouting something I couldn't hear over the wind. Then it came again. Something huge rammed the ski broadside. The handlebars cracked against my ribs. I hit the water hard, the world spinning brown and red. I remember surfacing, spitting salt and mud, and seeing the others' jet skis whipping circles, their engines screaming. Wayne pointed behind me, his face white. "Move!" I didn't see it right away. Not until the water rose behind me, slow and deliberate, like a submarine surfacing. The back of it broke the water first, ridged, black, and slick with algae. Then the head, dear God, the head. Its snout alone was longer than the jet ski, teeth like gravestones. Wayne fired up his engine and tore toward me, yelling to grab on. But before I could, the croc's tail hit the water with a sound like thunder, flipping the ski onto its side. Wayne disappeared. I kicked, hard. Panic turned my limbs mechanical. I swam toward the mangroves, each stroke cutting through oily water. My life jacket tangled on something below a root or a rope or a goddamn hand. I'll never know, and I ripped it off. When I reached the trees, I pulled myself up onto the roots, chest heaving, mud and leeches sticking to my skin. The rain began again, and then the lightning came. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. For a while, I told myself it was gone, that maybe it didn't care. I crouched there, gripping the trunk of a half-submerged tree, listening to the rain hiss on the water. But the mangroves moved differently. The still pools rippled not with wind, but with weight. Something brushed the roots beneath me. Slow, sliding. I climbed higher, the bark slick under my hands. A dark shape circled below, vanishing and reappearing between the trunks. It didn't need to hurry. The storm cracked overhead, so loud it rattled my bones. In that flash of white light, I saw it. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. It wasn't a normal crocodile. Not by size, not by shape. Its eyes glowed a sickly amber in the lightning set too far apart, almost on the sides of its skull. The body was bloated, scale like burnt armor, scarred with old wounds that didn't look healed so much as grown over. The tail was thick as a car, the ridges splitting like old leather with every movement. It exhaled. I could hear it over the thunder wet, wheezing breaths that fogged the rain around its nostrils. Then it sank again, silent as a nightmare sliding back under your bed. I stayed in that tree for what felt like hours. I texted emergency. My GPS barely worked, but I dropped a pin anyway. They told me to stay put, that a rescue crew was launching once the lightning cleared. I kept the screen dim, my hand shaking so hard I could barely type. I thought maybe if I stayed still enough, it'd lose interest. But predators like that don't lose interest. They wait. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The rain turned from a downpour into a deluge. I could barely see the water below me, just shifting black between flashes. I kept trying to spot the other's jet skis. Maybe one of them made it. But the estuary looked deserted, except for the endless maze of trees. Every time lightning flared, I saw something new in the water, ripples where there shouldn't be any, a shape that didn't match the current. And then I realized the mangroves themselves were moving closer together, not from the tide, from it. It was pushing through, breaking roots as thick as my arm. The noise half muffled by thunder. The smell hit me. Rot, blood, and swamp. I thought of all those signs back at the boat ramp. Crocodiles inhabit this area. Do not swim. We laughed. We took selfies. Now I could taste iron in the rain. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Lightning. Again, so bright it turned the world white for a heartbeat. And in that heartbeat, I saw everything. The water directly below me had gone still. Perfectly still, like a mirror. But the shadow beneath it wasn't shaped like a croc anymore. It was longer. Wrong. The head split into something wider. The jaws opening sideways like a grotesque flower, lined with concentric rings of teeth. Inside was movement, like something alive within it, writhing, and it was looking straight up at me. I don't remember screaming, but my throat burns. I think I dropped my phone for a moment, because the next thing I knew, it was half submerged in rainwater and flashing low. Battery. I backed higher onto the branch, praying it would hold. The last message from the rescue team came 8 minutes ago. Storm too strong. Hold tight. ETA unknown. The wind's howling now. I can hear something bumping the trunk from underneath. Slow, deliberate thuds, like it's testing the wood. Each one vibrates through my feet. I keep thinking about that last flash. The shape beneath me. The impossible mouth. They said crocs don't come this far south anymore. They said the storms drove them away. But this thing, this monster, didn't come from here. It came with a storm. Another flash just hit the horizon. There's a shadow on the next trunk over. It's taller now. Standing. If anyone finds this post, don't come looking. Stay out of the water. The rain stopped. No lightning, just darkness. No thunder, just silence. Except that guttural growl, deep and wrong, and the wet crack of roots as they give way below. An act I learned as a child, to hold my breath if I am in a car that is cruising past a cemetery. I don't remember who told me, but I remember it was something my friends and I would follow religiously as children, no matter who was driving or where we were going. And if the windows in the car were down, it would be mass panic to roll them all up before those wheels crested the front of the cemetery. Back then, they were the manual crank windows, the ones that took all of my scrawny kid's strength to get closed. But in those moments, they always managed to close in the nick of time. I'm not sure any of us knew why we were doing it. I certainly didn't. Regardless, it's a practice I've kept up, even though my 30th birthday is right around the corner. It wasn't like I had big plans for my birthday, but it would have been nice to be able to celebrate it. I remember making the concrete decision when I got my own license that I would keep playing the game for nothing, if not for myself. Sometimes the practice seems silly to acknowledge, but my mindset has always been, I'd rather be safe than sorry. If other people are in the car, I'm discreet about it. Much less fanfare than when I was a kid. Just one large inhale as the tires continue to glide on the road. I casually roll the windows up like it's no big deal. Maybe like I saw a bug I didn't want to crawl inside the car. But it isn't always feasible to hold your breath in time, I don't always see the cemetery until I am smack in the middle of it. I immediately stop breathing when I realize what I am driving by, but at that point, it already feels too late. Until 2 days ago, I didn't know the consequences. Now I do. It's because I moved to a new town that all of this happened. I didn't know that the back roads that led to the craft store would contain so many cemeteries. It was in my nature to simply avoid these types of roads. To take the highway even if there was more traffic. I was alone on my way to pick up supplies for one of my many craft projects. I should have turned the car around when I saw the road that I was going to be on for 7 miles contained nothing but curvy, grassy, open space. It wasn't like there was anyone else in the car to question my actions. I should have known, as I made my way down the winding road, there would be multiple cemeteries. But I told myself not to be ridiculous. A kid's game should not keep me from driving down the fastest route to somewhere. My other mistake was leaving my windows open. At this point, it was an act of defiance. I knew there would be cemeteries, but refused to acknowledge them before they arrived. Granted, these days, windows went up much faster with electronics, but apparently not fast enough. I didn't even know anything was wrong until the next day. I woke up groggy, wiping the sleep from my eyes as I stumbled down the hall to the bathroom. My eyes were bulging and bloodshot, as if something had been pressing on the inside of my skull, trying to get out through my eyes. A thin trickle of dried blood from sometime in the night caked itself onto my neck. I followed the line back up to my right ear, as if something had been trying to force itself out that way. My nose was swollen, and the skin of my face was hot to the touch, as if fighting off some kind of infection. But before I go any further, I need to get back to the crux of it, the actual event. So, like I said, I was driving on an unfamiliar road with that familiar itch creeping up my back, the one that told me there would be a cemetery around every corner. The reason I didn't see it right away was because my phone distracted me. And before you sneer at me, I know I shouldn't be looking at my phone when I drive, but I just happened to be waiting for an important work update. The ironic thing was, it wasn't even the update I was waiting for. It was my sister in a crisis. She's always in a crisis, but usually her crises don't impact me as much as this. They usually don't transfer over like a curse waiting to impregnate the next person. I clicked on the text to see a wall of blue with lots of exclamation points and angry face emojis. This is the reason I didn't realize my little red car had passed over the plane. I wasn't even reading the text. I closed out of the green message app almost immediately. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't something dire, something that actually needed to be taken care of at that moment. It's hard for me to describe to you the surge of fear that traveled down my back when I glanced back at the road. Of course, I stopped breathing immediately. Yes, I pulled up on all 4 window buttons as soon as my fingers unlatched from the wheel. It was over in mere seconds. One moment I was in the middle of driving by a cemetery, and in the next, the moment passed. The sun blazed into the car and started cooking everything within, now that it had no way to escape. Even though the moment was over, I didn't want to roll the windows back down, as if I could gain favor from the ghosts if I just kept following the rules. But obviously I had to take in a breath at some point and blow it out in the next. I continued to breathe and cook in the car, my air conditioning temporarily broken. I had all the tools to replace my blower motor, the part that shit the bed last week. But since it was a nice day, I figured it could wait. So that's the reason for the sweat trickling down my back, pure laziness. But I knew I couldn't be too careful and roll the windows back down. I eased my car around a bend, only to be faced with another cemetery. This one I could prepare for. I could see it a little bit ahead. I was able to take that deep breath in that I needed before driving by. I didn't even mind that I was roasting like a rotisserie anymore because I was safe. The closed windows and the lack of breath kept me safe. Would you? I think I was lying. If I told you I encountered another cemetery a mile and a half down the same road? I swear it was the last one. But I didn't inhale any fresh, non-circulating car air until I parked and threw my door open 15 minutes later. Those breaths were some of the most satisfying I'd ever taken. The fall air hit my nostrils in such a cool, clean way. Maybe that was my mistake. I was too greedy with the fall air. The text that ruined my life? I know some of you must be curious. It was because her current boyfriend, the guy she'd been on 2 dates with, didn't like cats. Could you even call someone your boyfriend after 2 dates? She lived alone with 2 cats, Cinnamon and Sugar. So clearly this relationship could never work out. She was outraged that anyone could hate cats, especially her dream guy. Well, I guess he wasn't her dream guy anymore. By the time I checked out at the craft store, I mostly forgot about my escapade on the drive there. Like I said, I didn't realize the consequences. Up until yesterday morning, it was just a silly kid's game. And yes, I answered my sister's text with all the correct platitudes like, "How dare he?" and "You're too good for him." When I think back on it, I did take a different way home, whether consciously or subconsciously is up for debate. There weren't any cemeteries on the way back, at least not any I saw. That was 2 days ago, almost 48 hours to the hour. Most of my hair has fallen out. I'm typing with one finger, the only one left with a nail attached. At least, it's my pointer finger. Small miracles and all that. The rest fell off last night. I found them clinging to my bed sheets. Toenails, too. Those are gone. I tried voice to text with my computer, only to find I don't have a voice anymore. All that came out was strangled, gasping noises. I guess it makes sense. When I looked in the mirror, my chest was sunken and my neck shriveled. All the folds of my trachea and esophagus visible beneath the thin layer of skin. I'm starting to leave blood smears on my keyboard. I don't think this nail is going to last much longer. I guess I should get to my point soon. I think it's too far gone for me to ask for help. So I guess this has turned into one of those warning posts. You know, the ones that tell you to watch out, always look behind that corner, turn on the lights before bed in this case, always check for cemeteries, never take your eyes off the road. There are so many questions that must be left unanswered. What about the air conditioning or the heat? Can the ghosts get in if you turn those on? Was it my open window, or do the windows not matter? Is it all cemeteries, all ghosts? Do you have to be driving? I don't have time to answer any of these. I'm already infected, possessed, haunted, or whatever this is. You can test all these theories if you want. I'm not sure I recommend it. Another tooth tumbled out of my mouth a moment ago. I think I only have 2 left now. It's hard to keep my jaw closed. I'm trying to prevent the blood from trickling out. It's not working. The keyboard is slick now. My breaths are shallower. It's like I can't catch my breath. A bit ironic, as if the ghosts are still stealing the air from my lungs. Like I'm still driving past that cemetery. I think I only have a few more moments left. Just enough to post this. I wonder what my family will think when I don't answer their calls. I wonder how long it will take them to find my body. I wonder if I will have a body to leave behind at all. I'm writing this in real time because I need someone to know what's happening. It's Halloween night, and something is very, very wrong. An hour ago, around 8 p.m., a man came to my door, not a kid in a costume, a full-grown man in his 40s, wearing jeans and a black t-shirt. He was holding a pillowcase. "Trick or treat," he said. I thought maybe he was joking, being ironic or whatever. I laughed nervously. "Aren't you a little old for this?" He didn't smile. His eyes were watery and bloodshot, and they didn't blink. "Trick or treat," he repeated, expressionless, and something in his voice made my stomach twist. I just wanted him gone, so I threw a candy bar in his pillowcase. He looked down at it, then back at me. "You chose treat. That's good. Most people choose trick." Then he walked away, disappearing into the dark between the streetlights. I closed the door and locked it, hands shaking. Something about him felt wrong. Not threatening exactly, but wrong in a way I can't explain. 20 minutes later, I found a Polaroid on my doorstep. I don't know how it got there. I've been watching the door the whole time. It's a photo of my house, taken from the street. Tonight, you can see my jack-o'-lanterns on the porch, still lit. I'm looking at it right now, and I don't understand how he took it, developed it, and left it on my porch in 20 minutes. Polaroids take time to develop, and I would have seen him through the window. But that's not the worst part. Update, 8:47 p.m. Another photo just appeared. I'm not opening the door anymore. I'm watching through the window and no one is coming to my porch, but photos keep showing up. This one is taken from my backyard, through my kitchen window. I can see myself in it, sitting at my table, looking at the first photo. That means he was in my yard while I was sitting here. That means he's circling my house. Update, 9:03 p.m. 4 more photos in the last 15 minutes. I'm not going outside to get them anymore, but I can see them piling up on my doorstep through the window. My hands won't stop shaking. I called the police. They said they'd send someone when they could, but it's Halloween and they're swamped with calls. Update: 9:31 p.m. The photos stopped coming. I thought maybe he left. I was starting to breathe again. Then I saw it. There's a photo pressed against my living room window from the outside. He's standing right there, holding it up for me to see. It's a picture of me as a child, maybe 7 years old. I'm dressed as a pirate, opening my front door on Halloween night. And standing on the porch is a boy in a vampire costume, holding out a pillowcase. I remember this. Oh God, I remember. I was handing out candy with my mom. This kid came to the door. He was too old, maybe 13 or 14. I was at that age where I thought being mean was funny. When he held out his bag, I didn't give him candy. I said, "Trick," and slammed the door in his face. My mom was furious, commanded me to apologize, but when she opened the door, he was already walking away. He turned back, and his face was so empty, so hollow. "You chose Trick," he said. "That's okay. I'm patient." We moved away the next year. I forgot about it. That was 35 years ago. He's been waiting 35 years. Update: 9:58 p.m. He's not at the window anymore. I don't know where he went. The pile of photos on my porch has grown. There must be 50 of them now. I can see them from here, and they're all of me. Me as a teenager. Me in college. Me at my wedding. Me moving into this house. He's been watching me my entire life. I try to leave through the back door, but there are photos there too. Hundreds of them, covering my back porch. Each one a moment from my life I don't remember being photographed. Update: 10:23 p.m. I finally looked at one of the photos pressed against my window. It's of me, right now, sitting on my couch, typing this post. It was taken from inside my house, from the hallway behind me. I'm alone in this house. I checked every room, every closet, every space large enough for a person to hide. But someone took this photo from inside my house. I'm too scared to turn around right now. Update: 10:45 p.m. I turned around. No one was there, but there's a Polaroid camera sitting on my hallway floor. It wasn't there before. Next to it is a pillowcase, an empty pillowcase. Update: 11:11 p.m. I don't know how to explain this. I don't expect you to believe me. I looked in the mirror a few minutes ago, and my eyes looked different, watery, bloodshot. And I can't stop thinking about the houses down the street. The ones with their porch lights still on, the ones still handing out candy. I found myself walking toward my front door. I was holding the pillowcase. I don't remember picking it up. There's a house 3 doors down. I can see a family inside through the window. They have a son, maybe 7 years old. He's dressed as a pirate. I'm so hungry, not for candy, for the trick. Final update: 11:47 p.m. I understand now. The boy I slammed the door on 35 years ago, he's not haunting me. He passed it to me, like a disease. It's like a curse that finds a new host. I watched as my legs walked myself to that house. I rang the doorbell. The little boy answered, his parents behind him, smiling. "Trick or treat," I heard myself say. He looked at me, no costume. Just a grown man with a pillowcase, and he laughed. A mean little laugh. Trick, he said, and slammed the door in my face. His parents scolded him. They opened the door to apologize, but I was already walking away. I turned back and looked at him with eyes I didn't recognize anymore. You chose trick, I said. That's okay. I'm patient. I'm in my car now, driving away from my house. I don't know where I'm going. Somewhere far. But I know I'll be back in 35 years. And I know whose door I'll knock on. If a grown man ever comes to your door with a pillowcase, don't laugh. Just give him candy. It happened on a Tuesday night. My wife had been out jogging when a drunk driver hit her head-on. She was dead before she hit the ground. At least, that's what the cops told me. I moved into my parents' place for support. But no amount of help could replace Meg, the beautiful woman who had given birth to our daughter, Isla. 3 years later, I was still shaken by her death. But what happened next hurt me so much more and threatened to rip apart my sanity. It started on a frost-bitten morning. I had dashed outside, late for work, and noticed a small gift on the hood of my car. What the hell? It was a tiny box wrapped in red paper. My wife had always dressed her presents in this way. I separated the wrapping from the container and found a small plastic ring inside. It was the same toy jewelry my wife had won at the fair years ago. Are my parents messing with me? I went back inside. My mother knew nothing about it. I called my dad. He didn't either. The only person I could think about was Kate, my wife's best friend from high school. After Meg and I had started dating, Kate had grown hostile, like she resented me for stealing her closest companion. When I made the call, her bitterness was evident. Scott, long time no see. Kate, did you leave a gift on my car this morning? What gift? A ring Meg won at the fair. You actually think I put it there? It's a possibility to torment me. Scott, we've never liked each other. But I'd never do something like that. It's crazy. Over the coming weeks, I started receiving more gifts. Each one was something only my wife and I could have known about. Gifts from past dates, oddities we'd picked up during our travels. It was all so strange. I tried ignoring them. But when one appeared at my daughter's preschool, it was too much. Someone left Mr. Fishy on my desk, Isla sobbed, curled up in my arms after class. Mr. Fishy was Mommy's favorite. She must have put it there, right, Daddy? I called the police, but they just told me, we'll keep an eye on it. If we get any information, we'll call you. That was 2 weeks ago. Thankfully, I got a breakthrough. I dropped off Isla at school and swung by my house to pick up some tools for work. And that's when I saw it. A massive teddy bear sitting on my doorstep. It was the same one I had bought Meg during our first date at the mall 12 years ago. Who else could have known about that? Kate, she'd been there that night, shadowing us, making sure Meg and I didn't get too handsy. My mind burned with rage. I got in my car, drove across town, and waited at Kate's place. About an hour passed, and her car arrived. Kate hopped out and went to the door. "Kate!" I shouted, my voice chilling the air. "Scott!" She backed away, lips trembling. "I know the gifts are coming from you. I don't know what you're talking about." "Stop lying!" I showed her the teddy bear. Her face went blank. "It's not my fault. I promise. She made me do it." "Who?" Just come inside, she motioned to the house. I'll explain everything. I followed Kate inside and she disappeared down the hall. I was hurt and desperate for answers, so I plopped down on the couch, my eyes focused on every corner. Meg? Kate's voice drifted into the living room. Your husband's here. Meg? My throat tightened as footsteps padded down the hall. I stood slowly and saw my wife, Meg, appear from around the corner, still in her jogging attire, the exact outfit she had worn during that fateful night. I'm so happy to see you. She wrapped her arms around me. Have you enjoyed your gifts? I was so shocked I couldn't speak. I'm sorry, Scott. Kate wandered in. I should have told you as soon as she arrived. As soon as she arrived? I turned toward her, confused. Tell me everything. After Meg's accident, I felt lost. I had to find some way to bring back a sense of my friend. And that's when I found him, the man who lives in the woods. I cast a weary glance outside her window. There was a dark forest near her property. Were those the woods she was referring to? He promised to bring her back in exchange for, well, you can probably guess. The only rule is she can't leave the house. So, she makes gifts for you and your daughter, and I deliver them. It's true, Meg smiled. She's been helping me this entire time. I shrank back, traumatized. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Didn't you think I'd want to know that you were alive? I'm not alive, sweetie. I'm in the in-between, neither here or there. But we can still be together. Her cold fingers cupped the sides of my face. They felt icy, frostbitten. And her eyes, there was something off about them, like I was staring into death itself. No, I pulled back, stepping to the door. This is wrong. Scott, please. You're not her. Don't tell anyone else about this, Scott, Kate pleaded. You'll ruin everything. Stay away from me. I ripped open the door and dashed outside. That was the last time I saw Kate. Several weeks later, I got a call. Meet me at Kate's, 3 o'clock. It was Meg. Her voice sounded so subtle and enchanting. I fought every impulse to go over and see her, but I had to gain some sort of closure. I had to see if there was some semblance of her still inside. So, I drove to Kate's after work, made sure my parents could pick up Isla from school, so I had a few good hours. When I got there and knocked, Meg answered, dressed in the same jogging outfit. Thanks for coming. She pulled me inside. I glanced around for signs of Kate. Her car wasn't in the driveway. Where's your housemate? Don't worry about her. Meg caressed the back of my neck. It's just you and me now, and Isla. I want you to bring her over so I can see her. Can you do that for me? I'm sitting in my car now, typing this on my phone. I'm not sure how to move forward. Part of me wants to tell Isla that her mother's back, but another wants to keep her safe from whatever my wife has become. What do I do? I answered a knock at my friend's door last night, but the person outside was me. When I look back, I can still smell the candle wax. Brandon's girlfriend, Kate, had this habit of lighting 5 different scents at once, like the mix of vanilla, pine, and burnt sugar could disguise the fact that her apartment always felt too still. My girlfriend, Lila, teased her for it, while the 4 of us sat around the coffee table, eating takeout noodles and half watching a movie while playing Uno. It was supposed to be a normal night. I remember thinking how quiet the neighborhood was. The kind of quiet that makes you hear the hum of the refrigerator and the soft static between words. Brendan's place sat at the end of a cul-de-sac, one of those split-level rentals with a narrow porch and a single security light that never stayed on. We just started talking about weekend plans when the knock came. 3 sharp raps, not hurried, not tentative, confident. Brendan frowned, half rising from the couch. "Expecting anyone?" "No," I said before I could stop myself. It wasn't my house, but the sound felt directed at me. The knock came again, same rhythm, a beat of stillness between each hit. Kate looked at the door, then at Brandon. Probably a delivery mix-up, but Brandon wasn't moving. Neither was I. There was something about the cadence that made my stomach tighten. "Relax," Lila said, nudging me. "I'll check." Before I could tell her not to, she padded across the living room and flipped on the porch light. It flickered once, then steadied. I caught a glimpse through the window, a shadow on the other side of the frosted glass, same height as me. Lila opened the door halfway, then she froze. Brandon?" she said quietly. "You might want to come here." He joined her at the entryway, confusion flickering over his face. Kate leaned over the back of the couch, but I was already standing. I don't know what I expected. Maybe a prank, a neighbor. When I reached the door, the air felt thinner. The man outside looked exactly like me. Same jacket, same haircut, same tired circles under his eyes. Even the way he held his shoulders, slightly turned like he wasn't sure whether to step forward or back. It was mine. He smiled when he saw me. "Hey," he said, voice perfectly calm. "Why'd you change the locks?" For a second, nobody said anything. My mind searched for an answer that made sense. Twin, look-alike, some kind of joke. Brendan muttered, "What the hell?" The man outside tilted his head. "You going to let me in? It's freezing." The breath left my lungs. "Who are you?" He blinked, surprised by the question. "Funny, you tell me." I slammed the door before he could take another step. The sound echoed through the living room. Kate yelped. Lila grabbed my arm. "What the hell, Matt?" "There's somebody out there, pretending to be me." Brandon turned the deadbolt. "Okay, that's insane. Maybe he just looks like you." "No," I said. "You saw him. It's not possible." From the porch came 3 more knocks slower this time. Lila whispered, "What if it's a prank? What's that thing called, deepfake or something?" I shook my head. "He had my clothes. He even talked like me. I don't think my parents would be able to tell." The knocks stopped. Brandon exhaled shakily. "I'm calling the cops." He grabbed his phone and started dialing. While he talked to the dispatcher, the rest of us stood there listening. No footsteps, no voice. Just that quiet house breathing around us. When he hung up, he said, "They're sending a car." We waited. 10 minutes, 15. Lila peeked through the side window once but flinched back immediately. "He's still there." I forced myself to look. Through the glass, my own face stared back at me. He was smiling faintly, like he found something funny. Then he raised his hand and knocked again. Softer, steady, patient. Brandon muttered, "Jesus Christ." When the police arrived, 2 officers, they found nothing. The porch was empty. The night air looked untouched, like it had been that way all along. One officer asked if I'd been drinking. I told him no. He said they'd patrol the area, told us to lock up, and left. We tried to laugh it off after that, but no one really could. Brandon suggested we all crash there for the night, just in case. Around midnight, Kate went to bed. Lila lay curled against me on the couch, pretending to sleep. Brandon stayed up, staring at the dark TV screen. That's when I heard it again. A single knock from the back door. Brandon looked at me like maybe I'd imagined it. Then we both heard the second one, 3 taps, the same slow rhythm. We crept into the kitchen. The small window above the sink looked out over the backyard. Porch light off. Darkness thick as velvet. I whispered, "Don't." Brendan ignored me and flicked the light switch. The bulb hummed to life, yellow and weak, casting a cone of light over the glass door. I was standing outside again. Same jacket, same posture, except now there was something wrong with the way I smiled. It was too wide. He lifted a hand and rested it flat against the glass. The shape of it matched mine perfectly. Brendan hissed, "How is he doing that?" I wanted to answer, but my mouth felt dry. The thing outside leaned closer to the glass, forehead pressing gently until condensation fogged the pane. Then he whispered something. We couldn't hear through the door, but I knew the shape of the words. He mouthed, "Let me in." Brandon yanked the blinds closed. "Nope, we're done. We're calling again." But before he could reach for his phone, the kitchen light flickered and went out. The power didn't so much go out as hesitate. The hum of the fridge died. The clock on the stove blinked off, and the air itself seemed to thicken. I could hear Brandon's breath beside me, shallow and fast. Then came the soft drag of a hand sliding down the other side of the glass door. We backed into the hallway. Lila appeared, rubbing her eyes. "What's happening?" I started to answer, but a shape moved past the curtain window. A shadow my own brushed the fabric, the faint outline of a face pressing just close enough for the curtain to twitch. Then it was gone. "Basement," Brandon whispered. "Breaker box." He headed for the stairs. Kate called from the bedroom, voice small, asking if everything was okay. No one answered. I didn't want to go into that dark stairwell, but standing still felt worse. I followed Brendan down, the flashlight on his phone cutting narrow slices of light across the unfinished walls. The switch was already flipped to on. "See?" he said. "Power's fine. Must be." Something slammed upstairs, hard enough to shake the ceiling dust loose. We bolted up the steps, 2 at a time. The kitchen door was open. Cold air poured through the room like water. The curtain flapped against the wall. Kate stood frozen in the hallway, hand over her mouth. "He's inside," she whispered. I saw the trail of wet footprints on the tile before I saw him. Me standing in the living room doorway, head tilted slightly, eyes unfocused. He looked like he'd forgotten how to breathe. Brendan grabbed a lamp from the table and held it like a weapon. "Stay back," he said, voice cracking. The thing turned its head toward him, slow as a hinge, and smiled. Not wide this time, sad. Lila said my name. I don't know which of us she meant. For a heartbeat, everyone was still. Then the thing moved fast, impossible speed, knocking the lamp aside, sending it clattering. Brendan shouted. Kate screamed. Lila pulled at my arm, and we stumbled backward into the hall. I remember flashes, the sound of something heavy falling, glass breaking, Brandon's voice cutting off mid-word, his grunt as he hit the floor. When it was over, the silence was worse than the noise. The power blinked back on. The bulbs buzzed faintly overhead. The air smelled like ozone and sweat. I was standing in the middle of the living room. My hands were shaking. There was someone on the floor at my feet, lying still. He looked exactly like me. The police came after Kate called them. I barely remember the sirens, just the questions. Where did the intruder come from? Why did he look like me? What happened to Brandon? I kept saying, I don't know. One of the officers pulled me aside and asked again, slower, like maybe I'd stop lying if he softened his voice. He pointed at the sheet-covered body. You expect me to believe you don't recognize him? I looked at the hand slipping out from under the sheet. Same scar across the knuckle. Same little freckle by the wrist. I recognize him, I said. I just don't know which one of us he is. They didn't like that answer. They kept me separated from everyone else for hours. The detective who interviewed me said the neighbors only saw one person through the window, the one who broke the glass. But when they showed me a photo from the scene, something about the angle felt wrong. The face on the floor looked peaceful, almost relieved. Lila wouldn't look at me when they finally let us speak. She just said, "They found you standing over him." "Over who?" I asked. Her voice broke. "Over you. That was 2 days ago. I'm home now, waiting to hear if they're going to charge me with anything." They said the body's fingerprints match mine. Same dental records, same blood type. I've tried to remember every second of that night, but the details keep shifting. Sometimes I remember hitting him. Sometimes he hit me. Sometimes I'm the one who ran. Sometimes I'm the one who stayed. When I look in the mirror, the reflection feels a half-second late again. Not enough for anyone else to notice, just enough for me to feel it. There's a noise I keep hearing at night, like a soft, even knocking somewhere in the walls. 3 times, pause, 3 times again. Lila hasn't answered my calls. Kate says she's not sleeping, that she's scared of me now. I don't blame her. I catch myself using words I don't remember choosing, standing in rooms without recalling why I walked in. This morning, I found something in my jacket pocket that isn't mine, a house key with a blue tag, the kind Brandon uses. I don't know how it got there. The police said the man they found the other me had the same key in his pocket too. I keep thinking about what he said through the glass. Let me in. Maybe that's what he was doing. Maybe one of us let the other in. I don't know which side of the door I'm on anymore.